started as an academic poetry slam designed to show off a newly discovered poem, ends in chaos and fear. Today we chat with Joy Ribar about Poetry Slammed, Book 3 in the Bay Browning series. Welcome to Blackbird Writers Presents Author Interviews. I'm Sharon Lynn, and welcome to you, Joy.
Oh, thanks so much, Sharon, for having me. It's great to be here to chat about book stuff.
Book stuff. Well, this is a particularly fun, intricate, just fascinating, cozy, and I really, really enjoyed reading it, and I kind of wanted to start with its intricacies because this series I feel like needs to be read in order for you to really get who Bay is, get who her sisters are, um, and get just everything that's happening in this small town and at the university. And I'm wondering, did you plan for it to be this intricate from the start, or as things grew, did it just grow in complexity?
Yeah, it's an organic series to be sure. I did not have a mapped out plan, so I have let it take on a life of its own. I knew that there would be this evolving relationship with between the two sisters that that would be maybe a pretty fast growing character arc for both of them because they go through a lot of changes almost immediately from book one and onward. I didn't intend to make book three kind of a continuation of book two, but then it just happened. It just happened. And so I've been really open to allowing those things to happen without over planning them and kind of letting these characters tell me a little bit more about their directions. But you're right, because there is there's always a double plot in
Mhm.
these books, and I think that lends to having to read them in order for sure.
Yeah.
It
Well,
just adds to the complexity.
and one of the things I think that's happened, it's called the Bay Browning series, but Bay's sister Cassandra it has just really taken a pivotal role. Um, and I'm just kind of wondering, has Cass just kind of like gotten into your brain and taken over the keyboard as you're writing?
Yeah, she has in a lot of ways. People have responded really positively toward her, and I didn't know that that was going to happen when I created those two characters, and so I really did see Bay as she's the English professor, and a lot of the mysteries are coming her way. But then Cassandra just, sh- I mean, she has think she's a lot more of a complicated character. I think Bay is very much an I'm in control and I'm in charge and I like my little box. And
Yeah.
so she's evolving out of that, but she's being pulled out of the box by her sister. So
Right.
her sister is very dynamic. And because she's such a large personality with such a checkered history, I think she just became this larger than life character that people are finding fascinating, if nothing else.
No, I really enjoy spending time with Cass, and I'm enjoying actually seeing the influence the sisters have on one another, because you could see how Cass would just go off the rails if given the opportunity, she would just woo. And it's nice to have her just like stop and think. Bay might be disappointed in me if I did that. It's never that literal, but you can tell it's that influence. And just like the opposite, Bay, it's like, come on, Bay, let's go to a bar and play truth or dare. And, Bay would have never done that in book one. And in book three, she's like,
No.
okay.
Hey, if you're gonna force me, I'll come along. I'm not, and I'll pretend I won't enjoy it, but
But she is.
see? Exactly, exactly. And I do think that Cass is somebody who's struggling to stay on what she considers the right road. And it's a struggle for her because she's got, again, She's got a lot going on. She's got a lot to deal with. She has psychic abilities, all of these things. And she's a deeply emotional person. And so she's she is able to express those emotions so much better than Bay, who's very guarded.
Yes, yes, yeah. Well, it's a wonderful dynamic, and I just absolutely love spending time with both of them separately, and then when they come together, because yeah,
Thank you. Thank
just
you.
just amazing. So I'm gonna ask a slightly personal question. Have you ever performed in a poetry slam?
I have not ever performed in a poetry slam. I've watched and like and there's kind of different versions of poetry slam. So I think in the most traditional form, it's more of an original poetry performed and by with judges judging them and people kind of going forward through a night of a contest or a competition. And so that those are really high energy kind of performances. I borrowed from that poetry slam genre, I guess, but to make more of an open mic thing so that the professor Vivian could involve her students and that they could do performance poetry, which I have seen a lot of performance poetry done with costumes and of course, and it is finger snaps. That is what you do at performance poetry. You don't clap. I don't know why people don't clap, but they snap. I learned
think
that
it goes
right
back to
away.
being a beatnik.
It must. It must. It must. It's so fun. It's high energy. It really brings poetry to life when it is performed instead of trying to be studied in a book and you're reading it by yourself and going, "Oh my gosh, I don't understand any of this."
I'm
I don't
bored.
even know what the tone's supposed to be, but when it's performed, it just brings all of that to life. It's like it's its own character.
Exactly. And that's one of the things I enjoy is when Vivian is who is a professor with Bay, uh, she's deciding how she's going to interpret, this particular section and should it be this way or this way. And it really does make it more interesting. It's like, oh, okay. It's not just da 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 da, you know. So
Right, right. I mean, it's the blessing and the curse of poetry is people want to try to figure out what exactly was the poet trying to say when after if you see it performed you study it, so to speak, you find out that there's four, five, six ways you can interpret this
yeah.
and I think that's the cool thing about poetry is it's a
Mhm.
live thing all the time.
Yeah. Different parts speak to different people about different things. It's really, yeah, it's beautiful that way. Um, so in this poem that Vivian is performing is a newly discovered poem, and I'm wondering, in the academic world, does that happen often ever? What is the frequency of that?
Yeah, I don't know the frequency. I think it's pretty infrequent from what I discovered through research. But when I was researching Emily Dickinson, which I know we haven't talked about her yet, but
She's next on the
obviously
list. Go for
she's
it.
involved. Yeah, she's involved. But when it came to Emily Dickinson, and I went to her home and her museum, and I talked with the guides there who are very knowledgeable and, of course, absolutely passionate about her. They said that about 4 years ago, they discovered a poem written in a letter that the letter was written by Emily Dickinson to a neighbor, and then the neighbor again took the letter and rewrote the poem from the letter to another neighbor, and that was the letter they discovered. So now they've been spending 4 years trying to authenticate, they said, sounds like Emily Dickinson. It's not her handwriting because it was transferred from the neighbor to the neighbor, and sounds like it could be her poem. So they've spent 4 years so far trying to authenticate this poem. With somebody like Emily Dickinson, I think the more prolific the poet, as well as the fact that she wrote 1,000 letters, over 1,000 letters in her lifetime, yeah, she loved to write letters, and she would often include a poem in a letter. So the idea that things could still show up, I think, for somebody, with her prowess would probably is probably not, it's not unreasonable, but
No.
probably not very often. Yeah.
No, that she sounds like somebody who writes that much. There's something in somebody's attic that's gonna be found.
Yeah, I wonder about that. I wish it was in my attic.
Now I gotta go start going attic hunting. Um,
I know. Oh, yeah, that sounds fun.
yeah. Okay, so I want to switch gears a little bit and talk about Bay, who is always in control, very black and white. And at one point, she says "devil's horns" and "hedge pigs" as her swear words, and I love it. And I'm wondering how you came up with her particular unique vocabulary for swearing.
Since she loves literature so much, she's the type of person who, and she's in love with vocabulary. So she isn't going to just choose ordinary swear words. I mean, she can be a little pretentious, and I think that she believes that she's above using the vernacular swear words of the day. So she digs back, and so that's what I did. I dug back into history and looked at, what did they say in the 1700s? What did they say in the 1800s? And I just looked up some common swears or insults, curse words, whatever they would call them, and I borrowed my favorite ones.
Devil's horns. It's great. I love it.
Thanks. I liked that too. I like that too. It's enjoyable.
Yeah, well, and it just gives Bay that little bit of a break in her character. It's that just um, rather than yes, she's a professor and only a professor would say that, but she's also kind of fun. So she's somebody I'd want to hang out with.
She is. She definitely has that side of her, and I think it's really fun to, I mean, she's so careful, but I think it's very fun to create her discovering herself. And
Mhm.
that's kind of how things happen with her in this series is she sort of discovers other sides to herself that have either been buried or she didn't even know they were there. So it's fun to see her do that.
Yeah, her unfolding when Cass comes back to her life, first folding up much tighter, and then just kind of having her open up to their past, and that's what's just fascinating about this particular series is it's Bay has a past that she is dealing with, and it is related to but separate from Cass dealing with her past, uh,
Mhm.
and then there are other family members out there who are doing things, and then so there's all that family dynamic and how people can um, just separate other people off or memories off, and then that is mirrored in the entire community and how the sins of the fathers have been just passed down and are still messing people up. So eventually there's a question in all of this, which is, did you plan for the community to have these deep dark secrets uh, when you first started with Bay, or did that just grow organically?
It really grew organically when I started on the second book and decided that I wanted Cassandra to have a bigger part and to have a much more interesting work life. You
Mhm.
know, she was working at any job she could get because she's on parole. And then all
Right.
of a sudden she lucks out and through opportunity, you know, meets this person who's part of this founding member of the society, you know, if there is society in a small town in Wisconsin, but there is, I mean, but the fun thing is that every town has that.
Mhm.
There's echelons in every community because there's always going to be those people who have the most influence and the most power in the community.
Right.
So, and it
Typically,
was
yes.
easy because I just did some research into that town. And once I was doing some of the research into these founding families, I found out that they had some little histories going on and some off color and secret things and family feuds. And I thought, oh, this is fantastic. I'm going to mine all of, you know, all of this as my story starter. And to be able to insert Cass into that community as well then as having so much of these private college students come from these founding families and
Yeah.
from these wealthy echelon of this small town of Prairie Ridge.
And is that a real town or is that based on?
It is based on Sun Prairie and also a neighborhood in Madison, Wisconsin.
Okay.
So, and Sun Prairie is just outside of Madison. But so the geography and the geography is borrowed partly from this community in Madison called Maple Bluff. And that's the upper echelon of Madison and historical. And that's where the governor's mansion is. And then Sun Prairie, which is where I set the college and also where a lot of that historical information has come from for the background information for Prairie Ridge has come from Sun Prairie.
All right.
Yeah.
Fun. Well, and one of the things that is beautiful about Madison is all that Victorian era architecture. Just just beautiful.
It is.
It's
It
really nice
is.
to see. And and I think we can talk about this without giving anything away because I do prefer to ask questions that don't, you know, give away a mystery. But there is a literary treasure hunt or a treasure hunt based on literary cues. There we go. In a Victorian era mansion. And it is, if I may say so, brilliant. And I just kind of
Oh.
wondered, you know, how you mapped all of that out, how you mapped out the architecture of the house and then the various, you know, clues with the books and where they'd be.
Ah, well, you know, I've in a lot of my travels, if I can get into a house an old mansion that has history and take tours of them, I will do that every time.
Yeah.
So I think it's a combination of all the different wonderful architecture I've seen. And then I don't know, I've always been somebody who's been in love with treasure hunts and cryptic clues. And I thought it's just so much more fun. It'd be really fun to include that in the story. And so to know that somebody that a character could leave behind something and it would be what she refers to as a treasure or her treasure, which a lot of times our treasures are our stories. They're not necessarily riches.
Right.
And so, you know, so I just thought, and I thought about her being in this mansion. And of course, she would have a wonderful library. I've seen so many just incredible libraries with first editions and you know things that you just salivate over. Illuminated, the beautiful illuminated books. I mean, just yeah, obviously as authors we love books
Yeah,
or
we do.
we wouldn't be here, right? That's a treasure in and of itself. So I thought about all of what that character would treasure, and I thought about her cultural background and I thought about her about Also the loves, like she was a big lover of Jane Austen. So I thought, well, and she was very clever. So I thought, well, she's going to leave behind a puzzle that's not going to be easy to figure out. Somebody's going to
Right.
have to work on this. So I thought, so I made drafts like crazy of this cryptic letter and then this cryptic recipe card, and I just kept drafting and thinking, what else, what else, what else, it's pretty complicated. So
It
how
is.
they even figured it out is like, wow, these women are brilliant. Solved my puzzle.
Yeah, no,
It's very
it
fun.
is. It's not easy, and you have to have a lot of literary knowledge.
Indeed,
But
indeed.
yeah, that was one of those scenes that just completely transported me into the house with them, and it's like, oh, I bet I could get it if I could see that shelf myself. Um,
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm
really
glad you
enjoyed
liked it. I enjoyed writing that a lot.
that. All right. So, okay. Cass is making tinctures. So she's in this beautiful mansion. There's a greenhouse. She's making tinctures. She's drying herbs. Um, what kind of research did you do on that so you didn't accidentally just, throw a couple things out there to poison people?
Yeah, easily done. People
Yeah.
don't realize how many things in the herb garden and or your flower garden can actually kill you or
Yeah.
other things. Maybe not kill you, but maybe make you wish you were dead. I don't know.
You're
Um,
right.
well, my parents both, my dad was an organic gardener and he was really a big into herbs. So he used to set up at the farmer's market in Madison, as a matter of fact, with all of his herbs. He was really into it. And so I learned a lot from him. My parents would dry herbs, not just to use for cooking, but to use for teas. Now, they did not do tinctures, but then my two daughters apparently have inherited that love of herbs and plants and flowers, and they both grow herbs and other medicinals and they make their own tinctures. So I talked with them and so I've asked them like, well, where do you get your recipes? And so they directed me toward different herbal guides that they used for tinctures. And so I was very careful to I was very careful to only find tinctures that were pretty normal and usable and craftable, I guess. So, yeah,
Good.
but I did learn a lot. I mean, I learned a lot about the base. I knew basically how to craft or how to put herbs together for teas, but I did not know like what do they use for this tincture? They can't just put it in water. So, it was interesting to learn some of that background on how to actually craft a tincture and the chemistry involved in it all.
Oh, I
But
love that.
yeah, thanks. Thanks. It's fun. So it was fun for me to talk with my daughters about that. I love it that I can learn from them. It's a
Yeah.
good thing.
Well, yeah, I'm sitting here thinking, okay, and when we get off this call, I'm going to ask you to send me those links so that I can have my daughter start on her tinctures. Uh,
Okay, deal.
she's very into that organic. She doesn't want to take anything that she can't make herself.
It's no, it's very cool and very interesting. And when you think about what we did in the past before we had pharmaceuticals, so to speak, that's where they originated. They all
Yeah,
originated in all these gardens and mostly from women who would craft these tinctures and who were often referred to as witches instead of doctors. They were often,
right. Yeah,
but that's what they were doing.
yeah.
It's what everybody was doing.
Yeah, that's how you got healed properly. The doctors were just chopping things off.
Yeah, and taking out um what what
Leeches?
are those blood sucking the little
Yeah,
blood the
leeches.
leeches? Yeah, taking out the leeches exactly. Sorry, all I could think of were eels, and I'm like, no, it wasn't an eel. Yeah, yeah, just or cutting you open. Yeah, cutting you open and bleeding out your bad blood. I mean, you under the evolution of medicine in itself is so fascinating. It
Yeah,
really is.
exactly.
Okay, sorry, off topic.
Off topic, but related. Um, so, kind of my last question about the book is that there are characters who are working with a nonprofit that is basically designed to bring students who are endangered in war-torn countries to the United States to study. And it's the Square One project in the books. Is this based on a real nonprofit?
If it is based on a real nonprofit, I don't know about it. But what I do know is that I used to teach adult basic education at Madison College.
Mhm.
And so there were many of my students who were from foreign countries, and many of those foreign students were refugees. And
Mhm.
so they were sponsored. And you know, I got to know them and got to know a lot about their story and their stories and their experiences. And they were from all different countries in the world. So it's not, there's not just a, you know, there's a lot of places where students, young people are trying to get out and get an education. And they're not all coming to the US either. I mean, they're just
Right. Yeah.
trying to leave their country and get an education somewhere else where it's that's a little freer. And but so I know that a lot of them were sponsored by different families just in the area.
That's
So
neat.
how they do that in terms of there has to be a nonprofit out there. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's
I think
helping.
there has to be a foundation of some sort out there that could coordinate all these things together. Um, how, you know, a lot of the ones I talked to just said they just applied, you know, through government paperwork to get a refugee status, but I think they also probably went through the embassies. That's
Yeah.
probably the starting point. But you know, it's very expensive to come to the US. So you
Yeah.
know that there has to be sponsorship somewhere.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah.
All right. So what is next for Bay and Cass and Joy?
Oh boy. It's um, okay, so I'm going to take a very small writing break. I feel like I just need a little time to maybe breathe and regroup. I and with that said, I am actually am writing another book, but it's but it's not in either one
I
of
don't
my
think
series.
you know what break means.
That's not. It's hard to turn it off or even like it's so easy, you know, as an author, it's easy to create artificial deadlines for yourself.
Yeah.
Even if you had a have a publisher or an editor that's pushing you, you always still sort of feel like you're working on things in the back of your mind as you're working on things on the keyboard. There's
Right.
always there's always more than one story cooking. And
You're
so I
right.
have a couple more ideas for the Bay Browning series and going back to my Deep Lake series because people keep asking me if Frankie's going to do something. I'm like, well, yeah, she's on a honeymoon. I mean, but but I do have things planned for her. I actually do. But right now I'm working on, oh boy, my husband for my big birthday that I just had in December took me on a Viking River cruise to the Christmas markets in Europe. So right away I crafted two mystery ideas and I started working on one of them. So it will probably be a standalone Christmas market mystery, very Christmas themed, European,
Love
tons
it.
of fun.
Love it. Oh, can't wait.
Yes, I hope to have it out. You know, as I'm taking a break, I hope to have it out by November.
That's not a break.
Won't be, well, I won't say, hopefully November of 2026, but you know, if not, then it's going to be another year later because I'm kind of, you know, I feel like a Christmas mystery sort of needs to come out in the fall.
Yeah,
It's a good
it does.
time. Yeah,
It does.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. So finally, can you tell our fans where to find you, your social medias and whatnot?
Sure. If you want to know more about writing on the road, I have a Substack that's all about writing and road trips and stuff that we're doing in our RV. And so it's just Joy Ribar at substack.com.
Okay.
And There's a little something for everybody. I throw in a lot of parallels between writing life and traveling life. And then Facebook, you can find me at Joy Ann Ribar, Wisconsin author, really long. I have a long thing. So if you put in Joy Ann Ribar or even Joy Ribar, it's gonna pop up. There aren't really very many of us out there.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for chatting with me today. It is always a pleasure. And thank you all for watching Blackbird Writers Presents Author Interviews.
Yes, thanks, Sharon, and thanks everybody. See you around somewhere.
Yeah.